Now let's turn our attention to summarizing. When you summarize something, you take an idea and describe it using fewer words. This can be extremely useful when discussing long and complex topics in a short amount of time or space. For instance, look at this statement. Tea and coffee are two of the world's most popular beverages, with tea being the most consumed by a narrow margin. Both beverages have many supposed health benefits, including a decreased risk of certain illnesses and heart conditions. This is due in part to the fact that both drinks contain caffeine, a chemical which has been the focus of numerous medical studies. Okay, what if I wanted to discuss this using fewer words? Well, I could shorten the example to something like this. Tea and coffee are two of the most popular beverages. Both beverages have many supposed health benefits, due in part to caffeine. Here, we've reduced the text down to the most important ideas. And when we summarize information, we usually also change the vocabulary. In other words, we also paraphrase the text. Tea and coffee are two of the most common drinks, and they both contain caffeine, a drug which is claimed to have medicinal value. As you can see, this summary is much shorter than the original statement, but it still gets the main idea across. It's important to recognize summaries in the reading test, because you may come across some questions that summarize an aspect of the text that you just read. Let's look at a couple examples from the test, one from Reading Part 1 and one from Reading Part 4, to get a general sense of how summaries work on the reading test. First, here's Reading Part 1. This is a shortened version of an email correspondence about a local art competition. I'll read it aloud for clarity, but remember that on the official test, you will only read the text, you won't hear it. Here we go. Dear Miss Chin, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to serve as a judge for the city's first art competition. It was a fantastic experience. I'd like to offer several recommendations for next year's competition. First, I'd like to see separate categories for beginner, intermediate, and senior artists. Second, I think it would be a good idea to have separate categories for painting and sculpture, as well as a third category for other visual art media. Third, I would like to see more promotion of the art show. I think implementing these proposed changes would increase the number of entries, thus increasing appreciation of the competition and, consequently, of the city. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I would love to be part of next year's art competition. Kind regards, Judith. Now here's a question from this part. The main purpose of the message is to express thanks, make an announcement, make some suggestions, express interest. The phrase main purpose here indicates that this question is about a summary of the situation, and even though you only read the first sentence or two from each paragraph, that can sometimes be enough for summaries. Reading the first, or topic, sentence of each paragraph can be a great way of quickly and easily grasping the main idea of the passage. In this case, each topic sentence refers to a suggestion for next year's art competition. Therefore, we can tell that C, make some suggestions, is the correct answer. Now let's look at an example from Reading Part 4. The passage discusses Lyme disease and an insect called the deer tick. You may find this one a little more challenging. Reading Part 4 is one of the hardest parts of the test. Here's the paragraph from this passage. Chibukto Town Hall was packed last night as Dr. Glenda Meckley of Hills Health Network warned residents about the rising incidence of Lyme disease. The bacterial illness is transmitted by the deer tick, an insect that populates American and, increasingly, thanks to an ever-warming climate, Canadian woodlands, grasslands, and public parks. The tick burrows into the skin, infecting the host with a bacterium that, left untreated with antibiotics, causes manifold but often misdiagnosed health problems, starting with flu-like symptoms and leading to debilitating arthritic, neurological, cardiac, and cognitive disorders. And here's a question from this part. The author's intention in the first paragraph is to suggest a solution, predict an outcome, offer an opinion, present background information. Okay, so this question is basically asking for a summary of the first paragraph. The paragraph discusses the occurrence of Lyme disease, which is spread by the deer tick. This is neither a suggestion, nor an outcome, nor an opinion. It does present background information on the topic, however, so D is the correct answer. To review what we've discussed, paraphrasing is when we use different words to say the same thing. Summarizing is when we reduce a large number of words down to the main points. Summaries usually include paraphrasing. That is, we reduce the number of words, but we also use different words to express the main idea of the original statement. As you can see, these two concepts often go hand in hand. The ability to recognize paraphrases and summaries will greatly help you on the reading test.